Today we're making gyros. I'll give you just a quick background on what a gyro actually is. Traditionally, it would be some marinated pork, beef, chicken on a skewer that you would rotisserie and then thinly slice off some pieces for your sandwich. However, most food trucks today and other places you would get a gyro, rotisserie style is not super realistic, so what they often do is do gyro meat as a meatloaf, which is way more realistic to do in your home. And it's what I'm gonna show you today. So, first thing we want to do is get the meat going. It's going to take the longest, and you want to build the flavor up. So to do that, I've got my food processor, a bunch of spices, some herbs, and we're just going to jump right in. So you start with about a half of a sweet yellow onion and just drop that in there, breaking it up a little as you go. I've got 3 cloves of garlic. Drop those in there. Most of my herbs and spices are dried, but I didn't have dried rosemary on hand, and there's a bush outside. So we're going to use just a bit of fresh. If any of your herbs, if you substitute any of the dried herbs for some fresh herbs, go ahead and drop them into the food processor with your onion and garlic. If they're dried though, they can wait. So we're just gonna whiz this up. We want it really pulped. You don't want a big chunk of onion and your finished gyro meat. Pause there, scrape down the sides, and go again. Don't breathe in. Okay. So I will show you here. Your face back a little. This is definitely onion juice. This is about what we're going for here, is just some super pulped onion, garlic. The rosemary is really finely chopped in there. And you'll notice a lot of water has come out of the onion as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna strain the water out of this so that it doesn't make our meatloaf runny and fall apart on us. So you can use cheesecloth. If you don't have that on hand to strain it, you can also just use a clean towel and just throw it in the wash after. We're gonna take our onion, garlic, rosemary mixture right into the cheesecloth. Just bring up the edges, twist. You can see all of that liquid coming out, which is great. You don't have to get every last drop, just get the gist of it. And what you're left with is this finely pressed onion, garlic, and herb mixture that we're gonna throw right into the meat. So we're doing lamb and beef gyros today. You can use really any combination of ground meat that you would like. But I have a pound of ground lamb and a pound of 80-20 ground beef. Ground lamb is pretty much just whatever fat percentage you get. So we are gonna start seasoning here. It's about a teaspoon of all of your spices. You just wanna kinda cover the top of it. Just do like a light coating. This is gonna be our salt, some fresh cracked black pepper, some ground cumin, some dried oregano. I do not like these things. There you go. Some dried thyme. Ooh, this is really finely ground thyme. And then some dried marjoram. If any of these are unfamiliar to you, just give them a taste to see what they taste like. Marjoram, you don't see in a ton of recipes, and it kind of reminds me of all essential oils ever combined into one. But we're just gonna take it and pinch some over the top there. And this has a lot of different spices and herbs, so if you happen to be short 1 or 2, that's okay. Don't let it stop you from making your gyro meat. The things I would say you need the most to really develop that flavor are gonna be the cumin, the salt, the pepper, obviously, and the oregano. If you've got those, just add some extra and you'll be good to go. So garlic, onion, our rosemary, we are just gonna plop right on in there. You can use a masher or a spatula, but I just like to get in here with my hands. Gonna wash them afterwards, hands are clean to start, and you really know that it's gonna get mixed in. So for the seasoning, if you're concerned you didn't season it enough or you over-seasoned it a little bit, you can take a tiny pinch of this, cook it up in a pan real quick and give it a try. I've made this enough times so I'm pretty confident in our seasoning level. And we can also salt it at the end again because we're gonna actually slice it and sear off some pieces. So I just have a bread pan here, like what you would bake banana bread with. Don't need to grease it or anything. The chef I learned this recipe from likes to take a clean, wet kitchen towel, you wring it out, and you just line the pan with it, and then you put your meat on there. And what that does is it keeps the edges from turning brown, because we are gonna sear it off at the end. It's not completely necessary though, and I'm not gonna do that today. So you don't need to grease your pan. You just come in here with your meat mixture. Pack it on in. So literally making a meatloaf, but it's gonna taste a lot better than what you likely associate meatloaf with. So press it in. Don't want air pockets because this does need to be a pretty solid loaf when it's done. Great. So my oven is preheated to 325 Fahrenheit. Got my meatloaf set here, and what we want to do is we want to add some steam to the baking process so it doesn't get too caramelized, because it's going to bake for 40 minutes to an hour. So I have another pan here. We're just going to set it underneath this one. Okay, if you're using a glass casserole dish, be sure to preheat it first, like run some warm water and then gradually turn it hotter so you don't shatter your glass. This is some water I just pulled off the stove, or you can just use really hot tap water. We're just going to pour this in about halfway up the side, just like you would do for a cheesecake. Awesome. So from here, we're gonna very carefully transfer it to the 325-degree oven. We'll check it at 40 minutes. I imagine it'll take closer to an hour. We want the internal temp to be 165 degrees, or you can cut into it and just make sure there's no pink left at all. All right, so our gyro meat is done. It ended up taking about an hour and 15 minutes. The last half an hour, I bumped the temperature from 325 up to 350 just to speed it along a little. So you can see here, it's pulled away from the sides. The internal temp was at 165, which is great. And I just poured off the excess cooking liquid. And then you want to be sure and let it rest for at least 10 minutes or until it's cool enough to handle. So we're just going to take this guy out of here. Very gently. So we're gonna come in here and we're just gonna you want to make sure the slices are thick enough that they hold together, but try and get them on the thinner side. Perfect. Yeah, that's about what we're going for right there. Cool, so just slice up the rest of this, and then we're gonna get a pan hot on the stove and sear these off. And then we will be ready to assemble our gyros. So the first one I cut was maybe a bit thick. This is holding together pretty well, so I'd say about this thickness is gonna be optimal. And the little pieces that fall off, those are the snacks. All right, so I've got our sliced gyro meat. I've got a pan that's sitting here over medium-high heat. It's ready to go. And make sure your pan is good and hot before you start. You want a high smoke point oil. I'm using grapeseed. And then we're just gonna take these slices of gyro meat and drop them right in. Cool. Tip this just a little. Let that oil redistribute. So that's good. That initial sizzle when you drop it in the hot pan is exactly what you want to see. We want to get a good brown crust on these. They're already cooked through all the way. So we're just going to brown them on both sides, pop them back on the plate, and then we are ready to assemble our gyros. So this pan was super hot, just below smoking, which is great. So I'm just going to come in here and check. It's still sticking a little. When it comes off easily of the pan, that's when you know it's ready to flip. All right, let's check again. Oh, it's free. Carefully give it a little flip there. Yeah, you can see that brown crust. Beautiful. That's exactly what we want. We're just gonna let the other side caramelize. I'm also gonna add just a touch more salt to bring out that flavor a little bit more. Drop this paper towel here, catch some of that oil. Beautiful. These are done. All right, let's assemble the gyros. All right, so we are ready to assemble. We've got our gyro meat, tomatoes, some cucumbers. I made some tzatziki earlier, but if you don't have the time to do that, you can just seriously grab some yogurt, throw that on there. I also have some greens, which are totally optional. It's kind of up to you. So I just cut up a piece of parchment here to go under, to make it like a street food style gyro that we're gonna wrap up here. So we're gonna start with some tzatziki, get your good base on there. Tzatziki is literally just cucumber yogurt sauce, and to this we've added some garlic, mint, and parsley, and salt. Next we're gonna layer some cucumber down. And then some tomato. And then our gyro meat. And we're trying to build this on half of the shell here so we can fold it over. Gorgeous. Oops, I forgot to put the lettuce in, so you know what we're gonna do. Rip this in two. And we're just gonna lift up the cucumber and slide it in there. You could also at this point say, who needs the greens anyways? Great, that is a full gyro. Let's rotate him. And then here we go with the parchment. That's where it really helps you out. Just like so. Tuck in your greens. And so then I have some string here, some kitchen twine would be excellent for this. Slide them under. And just fold down the edges. Up she comes. And then you want to just make your little bow kind of on the side of the parchment here. The idea with folding the corners back is that it showcases your lovely ingredients. Ah! It's one of those like present time situations where you need someone to put their finger in the knot. Great. We're gonna pull the tomato up so it's a little bit more visible. Ooh yeah. All right, my friends, that is how to make a gyro at home. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button for me. Drop any questions for me in the comments. If you'd like to see more videos, you can head to our website, cleavercooking.com. We have a lot more videos, tutorials, and recipes over there. Thanks for watching.